back to the morning brief, starting with the headlines. And on a sad note, the weekend began on a tragic note for the Nigerian Army Armed Forces following the death in an ambush of 6 personnel of one division of the army deployed to Alawa and Irina while on a fighting patrol to Karaga village in Shiroro local government area of Niger State. The Director, Army Public Relations, Major General Onyema Nwachukwu, said the personnel comprised 2 officers and 4 soldiers who were killed in terrorist ambush on Friday, 19th of April 2024. Nwachukwu said despite the setback, the troops gallantly fought through the ambush and eliminated several of the terrorists as well as capturing some of their equipment. Sadly, however, he confirmed that the troops suffered a temporary setback as 6 personnel were killed. This comes 6 weeks after the gruesome murder of 17 soldiers in Okwama community in Delta State. Staying with security matters, at least 3 persons have been reportedly killed while several others injured as bandits invaded a market in Safe town, headquarters of Safe local government area of Zamfara state. Eyewitness accounts revealed that the bandits stormed the market around 11 a.m. and opened fire on the marketers. Spokesperson of the Nigeria Police in Zamfara State, ASP Yazid Abubakar, who confirmed this to Channels Television, said the actual number of casualties in the attack is yet to be ascertained. And in Abia State, the State Police Command has arrested and placed under house arrest a corporal who shot and killed an Aba businessman. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Maureen Chinaka, in a statement says the police officer will soon face appropriate disciplinary measures. She expressed sympathy with the victim's family, assuring also that they will be included in any future inquiry into the situation. On Wednesday, while driving home along Aba Owerri Road, the victim, Mr. Emmanuel Okocha of Abriba in Ohafia local government area, was reportedly approached by a policeman at a checkpoint who asked him for money, which he allegedly declined to offer. Away from security matters now, quality leadership is one of the primary ingredients in nation building. That's the view of the founder of Stanbic IBTC, Mr. Atedo Peterside. He raises concerns that more of what we've seen now is selfishness by leaders across strata. Mr. Peterside revealed this in an exclusive interview with Channels Television.
All my efforts are concentrated largely in whatever I can do in several ways, some behind the scenes, to help to improve my country. I think in Nigeria there's a leadership challenge. I'm talking generally now, I'm not talking about one person. It's across the states, across local governments. So every day I do everything I can, and I've got other people, working with other people, to try and influence things in the direction of the type of improved leadership that Nigeria needs. Because that's the key. I know people talk about, okay, but you can only get good leaders if you have good followers. You may be right, but I beg to disagree. In Nigeria, there are many very good followers. The problem is leadership is not good enough. Let's call a spade a spade. And I'm talking about leadership that leads by example. It's too easy to make pronouncements that you don't live by yourself. I've said it repeatedly, and I'll say it one more time. Nigerians don't believe in do as I say, they believe in do as I do. If you are doing something yourself, they'll take you seriously and they'll buy into it. But if you're exempting yourself, exempting your family, living a sort of a profligate existence, they won't take you seriously. And that's not a presidential statement. It applies in local government, it applies in state governments. There are state governors that nobody takes seriously, even in their own states. There are state governors that almost everybody takes seriously.
And speaking of leadership, all routes lead to the Federal Capital Territory today as President Bola Tinubu is set to open the African-Counterterrorism Summit. This was disclosed in a statement signed by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, and shared on his Facebook page on Sunday. Nigeria, with the support of the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism, is organizing a high-level African Counterterrorism Summit under the theme strengthening regional cooperation and institution building to address the evolving threat of terrorism. According to the statement, heads of state and high-level government officials across Africa, representatives of international organizations and multilateral institutions, members of the diplomatic corps, and members of civil society groups are expected to attend the summit. The objective is to enhance multilateral counterterrorism cooperation and reshape the international community's collective response to terrorism in Africa. And now to Ondo State. Recall we told you earlier that the governor has emerged the candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the governorship primary. Now we have this from yesterday. The APC governorship primary in Ondo State, which began has now been concluded by the announcement of the governor's emergence as a candidate of the All Progressives Congress. However, some members of the party in Akure are protesting what they describe as irregularities and biased conduct of the primary, which took place across the state on Saturday. The ward primaries meant to produce the governorship candidate of the party has been marred with non-availability of election materials, and some of the aspirants are calling for the cancellation of the exercise.
It was a broad daylight robbery, a monumental disaster. APC sent some delegates here to conduct a primary election. Apparently that was never done. They remained in Akure here at a hotel and started writing results. They wrote the result of 203 wards all across Ondo State, writing the mandate, taking the mandate of the people into their own hands. At the end of the day, we started seeing different results flying around, stating one particular candidate won the election. And that never happened.
In the whole of 203 wards in Ondo State, there was no election at all. There was a guideline of what to do during the election: membership register, electoral officers, member being accredited, none of them. No electoral officer, no membership card, no membership register. In all the 203 wards in Ondo State.
No accreditation.
No whatsoever. No at all. At all. Not as the manipulated result. No accreditation, no election anywhere. The electoral material will be distributed early in the morning. Our people were already there by 6 in the morning. Yes. And they were there till around 10. Nothing was distributed. When the governor of Kogi State, Ondo, came out to talk to them, he said the electoral material has been distributed. When? How? To who? To who? How? You said it at night, in the morning you said it has been distributed. To who? When? Who signed for it? It's very unbelievable.
Away from politics now, one of the key takeaways for the Nigerian government delegation at the end of the World Bank IMF spring meetings is how to diversify the nation's economy, improve revenue generation, and cut costs of governance. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, and the Central Bank Governor, Mr. Yemi Kadoso, who spoke with journalists at the end of the spring meetings, explained that Nigeria has secured a $2.25 billion facility from the World Bank at a 1% interest rate over a 40-year period.
We have qualified for the processing just this week to the board of directors of the World Bank of a total package of $2.25 billion of what you can call, I mean, if there's no such thing as a free lunch, but it's the closest you can get to free money. It's virtually a grant. It's for about 40 years, 10 years moratorium at about 1% interest. So that also is part of the flow that you can count.
We had very productive discussions with leading international money transfer operators, IMTOs, where we collectively committed to doubling remittance flows through formal channels into Nigeria in the immediate short to medium term. This target is both ambitious and achievable, and we are wasting no time in setting up a collaborative task force reporting to myself to drive progress and address any bottlenecks that hinder flows through formal channels.
And outside our shores, the U.S. House of Representatives has finally approved billions of dollars in new U.S. military aid for Ukraine to help combat Russia's invasion. The much-delayed measure had vocal opponents in Congress, and it took a fragile bipartisan deal to get the $61 billion package through. Republicans say more than a third would be dedicated to replenishing weapons and ammunition. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky describes the U.S. support as vital. Ukrainian soldiers are now running low on munitions and having to ration artillery shells on a front line more than 1,200 kilometers long. And in sports, Josip Stanisic scored in the 7th minute of stoppage time as Bayern Leverkusen extended their unbeaten run to 45 games in all competitions with a 1-0 draw at Borussia Dortmund on Sunday. Crowned Bundesliga champions for the first time last week, Leverkusen looks set to lose their unbeaten run when Dortmund's Niklas Füllkrug scored with 9 minutes remaining, as they have done so often this season. However, Leverkusen scored late, Stanisic's goal coming from a corner deep into added time. And that's it on the top stories. So what are some of your thoughts to the big stories, especially from the weekend, from Ondo State and from the IMF World Bank spring meetings, which have been concluded?